Well, guys, I am happy to say that we've made it into phase three. And this entire phase is really about the runner, the chaser dynamic, but on a different scale than what everybody else seems to teach it. Because everyone else makes it seem like, oh, well, you got to stop chasing them and they'll come back. And, they want to still sell the rainbows and butterflies and unicorns. But I want to actually in this phase, I want to teach you guys like the real emotional loops, what makes you still want to reach out, you know, the path and the pain that, is being ignored within you. Like, I'm really going to turn this internally for you guys, but also really show you guys where mutual respect for the journey starts to come in and how having that mutual respect changes everything for you. So, first, we're going to start with what the runner and the chaser dynamic really is, because there is a physical aspect to this, but there is an internal aspect that a lot of people leave you confused about. And this is just from personal experience. I'm not belittling the way that anybody teaches anything, but I just want to give you a different perspective because at some point in the connection, and we've all went through this, one person pulls away and the other just feels pulled in even deeper. You know, one distances, one reaches, one avoids, one pursues. And this is where the labels come in at that there is a runner and a chaser. But what if that's not actually what's happening? What if this dynamic isn't about two people, but about something happening within both of you? Because the truth is, the runner and the chaser dynamic is not, it's not just external, it's internal. And once you understand that, everything about this experience begins to make sense. So let's start with what you see, because this is where most people get stuck. Externally, the dynamic may look like this. One person becomes distant, communication becomes inconsistent, the connection feels unstable, and one person is trying to understand while the other person is just pulling away. And if you've been on the chaser side, and if you're the feminine energy in this, because remember, energy it's not masculine and feminine, it's not gender, if that makes sense. You have the awakening one and the one who somehow is oblivious, as people say it. So if you're on the chaser side, it really can feel like confusion, anxiety, a need for clarity, and a desire to fix or reconnect with this person. And if you've been on the runner side, it could possibly feel like overwhelming, like you're being pressured, the need for space, difficulty processing the intensity depending on what is going on in your life. So here's something important. Neither side is wrong. And I know a lot of you are sitting there saying, well, this person abandoned me like everybody else. And I get it. But neither side is wrong. They're responding differently, yes, to the exact same activation. Because underneath the surface, something deeper is happening. Because this connection doesn't just create feelings, it activates your nervous system, but it also activates theirs. And for one person, that activation feels like, I need to get closer to feel safe. And for the other, it might feel like, I need space to feel safe. So what looks like rejection is often just regulation. And what looks like chasing is often a search for stability. So now this is where the deeper truth comes in, because the runner and chaser dynamics, it's not just about two people. It reflects what's happening within both of you. So the runner energy, that represents the part of you that avoids. Let's take this inward. Let me say that again. The runner energy represents the part of you that avoids everything. It disconnects, it shuts down, has that fear of being overwhelmed. So this is often associated with the internal masculine energy when it is out of balance. Your chaser energy, that represents the parts of you that reaches, that seeks closeness, that wants that reassurance, that feels deeply and intensely. And this is often associated with the internal feminine energy when it is out of balance. So here's the shift, guys. You're not just experiencing a runner. You have a runner that is within you. At one point, I think I made a video on my TikTok, and I was talking about, at some point I had to start asking myself, who was the real runner? Who was running? Because you are not just experiencing a chaser. You have a chaser that is within you as well. You see, this dynamic shows up inside of you, sorry, in subtle ways. And you might notice there's a part of you that wants to move on, and then there's a part of you that can't let go. And there's a part of you that wants space, and it tries for it, but a part of you craves that connection. There's a part of you that's going to shut down, and then there's a part of you that overthinks and feels everything. So the external experience is amplifying an internal conflict. This is the mirror, guys. It's not just about them pulling away. It's about what gets activated within you when they do. You see, that's the importance of them walking away. How can you see what your internal masculine, what state that is in, that energy, if they don't pull away? And I know a lot of you probably think, no, this is an excuse for what they're doing. No, stop for a minute. This is your mind making it's basically just looking at the external. Sit with that idea for a moment. What if they were just mirroring my inner masculine state? So this is why this connection feels so powerful, because it's not just relational, guys. It's reflective. And the intensity comes from our unhealed emotional patterns. It comes from our nervous system responses. It comes from our internal imbalance between masculine and feminine energies. Listen, it is not just you that is imbalanced. If you're on this twin flame journey and you're watching this, you both have been triggered. And like I said, that masculine energy ran because they know, holy crap, I need space from this. This is a lot. This is a lot to take in. If you're like me, when I told mine, like, he never validated it. We went over that, but at the same time, like, there was a distance that come with it. And anytime I shared something that I had went through, even if he initiated, hey, let me know what's going on, whatever, and I would say something and he would go silent, because it was like, that was a lot. So you have to start becoming a little bit more understanding here and go, they seen it. Trust me, they seen it, they read it, but that, for them, it's a lot to take in, and they're not ready to be that container, if you understand what I'm saying. It's like pouring all of your liquid into a container that's just not ready. But you have to remember that, when you share internal, your unhealed emotional patterns, or the internal imbalance, or you really start showing those nervous system responses that you have, when those are activated at the same time, it creates that push and pull dynamic, because you're not balanced in either side of your energies. And that's where all of this work comes in, because you have to remember, not because one person is running and it's not because the other is chasing. It's because both people are navigating their own internal responses. So here's where everything begins to change. When you stop focusing on why are they running, and you start asking yourself, what is being activated within me, within my masculine energy, you're going to begin to regulate your emotions. You're going to start understanding your reactions, and you start integrating both parts of yourself. You learn how to hold space, which is your masculine energy, and feeling deeply, which is feminine energy, without losing yourself in either one. So the runner and chaser dynamic is not here to keep you stuck. It's here to show you something. So where you disconnect, where you hold on, and where you need to balance. So this isn't about labeling someone as the runner or yourself as the chaser. And I think that's what had kept me stuck the most, and why this video kind of became a necessity, really, this phase, because it's about understanding both that exist within you. And the more you bring those parts into balance, the less the dynamic controls you. So if this resonated with you, I want you guys to just take a moment to reflect. Where do you notice the runner within yourself? And where do you notice the chaser in yourself? And I don't want you to look at it as how do I show up toward my twin flame, just in life in general, because this is about how you've shown up for a very long time in the relations in your life, whether it's your friends, your family, when someone tries to get close to you and share emotions, like, how do you react to both sides of yourself? Because awareness of both is the beginning of the balance, and that balance is where your power is. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson.